Hi and Assalamualaikum to Prof. Sharifah. I am Nuril, represent the methodology of my project with the title Development of Poverty Indicator with Aggregated Weight and its relationship with Poverty Index scores using data regression model. I will discuss the methodologies applied to achieve the goals in the study and enlighten the process of the methodology. The methodology process is the main things to accomplish the objective. To achieve 5 objectives of this study, the methods of analysis is organized into 6 stages, begin with data collections. And the next is determination of objective and subjective rates. The third stage is development of poverty index. And the next one is poverty mapping in Kedah. Then beta regression model. And the last one is validation of beta regression model. Okay, let us begin with the first stage. The first stage is data collections. Data collections is defined as procedure of gathering information. There are 2 types of data, which are primary data and secondary data. Primary data is an original data which it was collected by hand from pure sources like in-depth interview, surveys, observation, questionnaires, case study, or social media monitoring. Besides, the secondary data are simply reachable but are not original as they have undertaken through many statistical analyzation before. The sources are from government statistics, industry association, trade publications, company websites, market research, reports, or internal records. Next, we move to the second stage. The second stage is determination of criteria weight for each poverty indicator. In this study, the aggregated weight will be computed by combining both the subjective expert's opinion and the objective data-driven values, which will balance both perspective of evaluation. This study will consider aggregation of critic objective method, while rank order centered subjective weight of the poverty indicator and conduct an experiment study to find the optimal aggregated weights. The proposed aggregation method provides a new way to reflect both weights, which overcome the disadvantages of these 2 individual approaches. Okay, we will move to the subjective weight first. Subjective weight by using rank order centroid. Rank order centroid. This method is a simple way of giving weight to a number of items ranked according to their importance. The decision makers usually can rank items much more easily than give weight to them. This method takes those ranks as input and converts them to weights for each of the items. Based on the ROC method, if there are n criteria, the subjective weight for the criteria ranked in J position is evaluated as follows. Wj subjective equals to 1 over n times summation of 1 over I, where n is the number of items and Wj is the weight for the jth item. This is the way to calculate for the formulas above. Okay, next we will move to objective weight. This stage determines weight based on the values of the estimated parameter from the best indicators in Kedah poverty. In describing poverty behavior in Kedah, the criteria with the highest weight will be considered as important criteria. The study conducted by using critic approach to determine the weighting criteria by the following steps. There are 6 steps to calculate the objective weight. The first step is normalize the decision matrix, and the second one is calculate standard deviation for each criteria, and the third one is determine the symmetric matrix of n by n with element rjk which is the linear correlation coefficient between the vectors xj and xk. And the fourth one is calculate measure of the conflict created by criteria J with respect to the decision situation defined by the rest of criteria. And the fifth is determining the quantity of the information in relation to each criterion. And the last one is determining the objective weight by using this formula. Okay, now we will move to aggregated weight. This method will combine both the subjective expert opinion and the objective data-driven values that will balance both perspectives of evaluations. The proposed aggregation method provides a new way to reflect both weight which overcome the disadvantages of these two individual approaches. As we can see here, Wj equal to Wj subjective times by Wj objective divided by summation of Wj subjective times by Wj objective. Okay, we will move to the third stage. For construction of index, the poverty index will be developed by using simple arithmetic means, which mean the sum of the product of the normalized scores with the corresponding aggregated weights of criteria. The poverty index has ranged from 0 to 1, with a lower poverty index corresponding to a lower poverty level and vice versa. As we can see, here is the formula. MA equals to 1 over n times by summation of SI, and we can compute it as mean arithmetic weight equal to summation of Wi times by Si, and as we know, Wi will equal to 1. Okay, next we move to fourth stage with a poverty mapping using GIS software. This software enables analyzing of data based on location and lead to hotspot analysis. In this study, the maps are used to analyze the hotspots which have higher incidence of poverty in Kedah. Okay, we move to the fifth stage. By using beta regression model, we will use it to model the relationship between poverty characteristic and poverty index scores, a generalization of logic model to situation where the response, which is poverty index score, is bounded by the interval 0 to 1. A fully parametric approach assuming that the dependent variable follows a beta distribution with density function with regression coefficient give the additional increase or decrease in the log odd of the response variable. By using this formula, we will model the relationship. Next, we will move to the last stage, which is a cross-validation method. It will be used to evaluate the predictive accuracy of a regression model. By using this cross-validation method, we will prove that our prediction of poverty index scores are almost the same with the real poverty index scores given by Department of Statistics Malaysia. Expected findings. To define the priorities of the poverty indicators, then the aggregated weight will be computed by combining both the subjective expert opinion and the objective data-driven values. The proposed poverty index will be used to rank the level of poverty for both poor and hardcore poor categories among 12 districts. Then, a new geographical map of poverty index using Geographic Information System, where GIS, of each district in Kedah. And the last one is the relationship between poverty indicators and poverty index scores can be accessed by using beta regression model. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.